wonderful Comic-Con. So thank you for coming. I've been asked to moderate. Originally our director, Ricardo Arnaiz, was supposed to moderate, but he feels self-conscious about his accent, so I'm going to do a little bit. But I'm just going to introduce everyone, and I'm actually going to let Ricardo speak, because this is his baby. He's so passionate about this project, and I want him to share some of that enthusiasm with everyone. So Fernando Lewels is here. He's our AD, I guess, and he can explain what that means on an animation film. Richard Pursel, Mr. Phil Roman, Ricardo Arnaiz, Mr. Rico Rodríguez, Mr. Mike Kunkel, Mr. García, and my two counterparts, two other producers, Aleks, Flores, and Cardoso. We also have someone in the audience I want to just recognize, Mr. Jorge Corey. He's in the back right there. He's very key. And instrumental in getting the money to do this project, so thank you, Jorge. And I'm just going to let everyone go ahead and speak, starting with Ricardo.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so exciting to be here at our first Comic-Con. We're really happy to share this project with you called Americano, the movie. And it's a dream come true for me, and I think most of the people here, because it's the first collaboration between Mexico and the United States as a co-production to make an animated movie. Not only made in Mexico with also US talent, but it also tells a story about Mexican culture going to the United States, about crossing borders. And it's funny because the story of us as Mexicans is the same that the story of Cuco, the character voiced by Rico Rodríguez. Because the story is about a little parrot who lives in Mexico and has big dreams of becoming like some kind of like a superhero. And so he says, well, I'm going to Hollywood and try to find this superhero from TV called Americano. And in this traveling, in this voyage, he learns to be a hero himself. So he wasn't afraid of crossing borders and going to some place that he didn't know anything about, but he followed his heart and his dreams. And that's exactly what we're doing as Mexicans filmmakers. We always dream about, you know, someday become a Hollywood movie at some point. And it seems like it's an impossible dream. I know many of you here are future filmmakers or do have some project like comics or for TV. I know you should have like very good ideas that could do something very big or very important for the industry. And sometimes you limit yourself, you put the borders upon yourself, and you say, no, it can't be done, or it's impossible, it's very hard. So what we did was just go there and do our best and try to contact the best people in the industry. We have legends like Phil Roman, we have great stars like Rico, Mike, Raul, everybody here has a lot of experience, and they were very curious about what could a group of little Mexicans could do. So with all their experience, our small budget, we finally made this movie called El Americano. And this movie is all about heart. And that's why we're so excited about this movie, because it's the union of a lot of talent between Mexico and the United States, and because it's a living proof that you can make anything possible if you believe.
Thanks, Ricardo. Follow up with Mike Kunkel, our other director, so we can talk a little bit about the story and his involvement.
Thanks for having us. I am the other side of the two borders. So as Ricardo and I have been friends for a long time, we've been on this project almost 5 years now with everybody, and it truly is two sides of the coin that we've come together to make this story. And I think from the very beginning, what drew me to it is the heart, and that's exactly what Ricardo hit on, is that the core part of this story is that it is about having a dream and going after it. And sometimes we all think that we have dreams, but we don't act upon it. And this is about acting upon that dream and doing more with it. And so being able to see that now visually, but in a warm, hearted story being brought to life by someone great as Rico, bringing a little charm to it, that has made it fun to explore and be part of it, definitely.
And Rico, I'd like to segue to your experience in the film and coming into the project. We'll tell the backstory a little bit, but I just wanted to get your impression. And Rico did such an amazing job voicing this character, really brought it to life, and I think you guys are going to be surprised and excited about what he did, but I'd love to hear your take on it.
Well, I mean, everyone's kind of hitting the nail on the head. I mean, this film has a lot of heart. It has a lot of soul and passion to it. That's how it makes it how it is today. How a few clips will show you. And the development process was so fun. Fun fact: I recorded my part of the movie in one day. We were just going at it. It was so much fun, and we lost track of time at lunch. We were halfway done with the movie, and I said, let's keep going. I'm ready. I'm ready to continue this because I didn't want to go home like, I just want to go back to the studio. So I just want to continue on and just finish it off that day. And I'll tell you, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I'll always remember that. I'll always remember it definitely. But I mean, this film has such heart, such passion that I loved it so much.
You'll see that and once you see this movie, that enthusiasm that is infectious. Really, Rico, you really killed it on this project. Thank you so much. And just to tell you my experience with the film, Ricardo, I worked for Olmos Productions, for Edward James Olmos, who, no relation. But Ricardo came into our office, and I mean, he'd been walking around with this project for many years, and he came in and he pitched this idea, and just his dream of not just doing this one picture, but in building an ecosystem and rebuilding like the industry, the animation industry that used to be really, really bountiful in Mexico. All the Hanna-Barbera stuff was done over there, so you had all these animators that were out of work. This art form had disappeared, and Ricardo was at the forefront of bringing that back. And he came in and he pitched it, and everyone was so excited that he was doing this. And he said, "Well, I'll be involved." He wanted him to act. He said, "I'll be involved, but I'm going to help you produce this, and I'm going to help you rebuild this infrastructure so that we can keep doing films." And Ricardo brought a lot of these people to the table, including Mr. Kudrow, Mr. Pursel, Mike, Raul, and I just want to go into that part of the process because that was so important to the end product and what you see on this film. So we'll start with Mr. Kudrow.
I first met Ricardo 10, 12 years ago, something like that. He was in town, and I got a call from Sarah Bailey from Animation Magazine that there were a couple of fellows from Mexico that wanted to meet me. I said, "Sure, send them on down." And so Ricardo came in with a couple of his teams from the studio, and I was immediately impressed by his smile, by his energy, by his just his being. He had this kind of love for the business, and he just wanted to know more. And so we stayed in touch, and then I helped him back in 2007 on the Leyenda de la Nahuala, and so that was my first involvement with him. And I got to tell you, he was telling me I saw the storyboard and everything, so everything looked beautiful. And so I says, when are you going to go to production? He says, in January. And I said, what's your delivery date? He says, gotta have it by October. I said, that's impossible. Yeah. I said, can you do it? I said, yeah. I said, that's impossible. He said, we'll do it. And you know what really impressed me is that he did it. Because he believed in it. He believed in himself and his project. And it came out beautiful. Because that's one of the reasons that I'm attracted to people like Ricardo that have that love of the business, that have that energy and the excitement and enthusiasm for their projects. Because if you don't have that, then you're not going to go anywhere. And so when he showed me the Americano, I heard his ideas, and to me, again, it's one of those classic stories of a little Mexican kid who all of a sudden has a challenge. He's got this superhero that he loves, and so there's a challenge that he's presented with. So he's going to go find the superhero in Hollywood where the television show was made. But then along the way he finds out that he doesn't need a superhero, that he is the superhero, that it's within him to resolve. And I think that's the same thing with all of us. You know, there's something within us that makes us, we have the ideas that we can deliver on. We don't need any outside help. It's good to have help and cooperation, but the final result is it has to be in your heart. It has to be within you to do it. And so that's what our little hero turns out to be, and he does save the day. But anyway, so my friend Ricardo here, you know, I'm glad to help him in any other project because that smile on his face, you know, because I haven't met anybody that hasn't had as many problems along the way, as obstacles, financial, whatever they are. And he still plugs away, and he made it happen. So here we are.
Thanks, Phil. Also wanted to maybe bring in Raul Garcia, who's also he's a director of animation on our film, but he's a director outright. He's done several films. And brought a lot of passion to the project. I just wanted you to share your experience, Rob.
Yeah, well, I'm actually the one out here because I'm from Spain, so I don't have anything to do with Mexico and the United States, so I like to basically, I met Ricardo here like a billion years ago, 12 maybe, and there was one of those things we shared the same passion for animation. I mean, since I was very little, I wanted to be an animator, and I wanted to work at Disney, and somehow from Spain I managed to come to this country and work at Disney for 10 years in all these great hits, like from Aladdin and Lion King, etc., etc. So somehow, when he told me the story of Paquito and Cuco, the theme ring very close to me because more or less, you know, I cannot live that experience of pursuing my dream and coming here to become what I always wanted to be, that I was an animator. And obviously, during all these years that we know each other, we were one day we would work together in something. And that something never quite materialized. And finally, after 12 years of begging, in both sides, trying to figure out, let's work together, let's look for something to work together, somehow an Americano came to be, and it was the perfect vehicle to actually see we could work together, and we realized that we could, and we had fun, and the process was really interesting because I was trying to bring all my experiences as an animator in 2D and as a director and animator in 3D, and somehow put it all together in the project. So we didn't look like we were crazy trying to do something that was impossible. Because one of the problems is like when we talk, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to make a film, a 3D film, stereoscopic, and CGI, and of course the first thing that comes to your mind is like, oh, here, like DreamWorks and Disney and Blue Sky and everybody else on their dog, they're doing CGI films. And I said, yep, no problem, let's do it. He showed me the script and what we wanted to do, and he was like, oh yeah, so you have like $100 million to do it. Like, no. Okay, so, well, let's try to basically do champagne for the price of mineral water. And what we try to do is like looking at Cuco and looking at all the characters, trying to find a style who will work with the style of animation we wanted to do, and really try to get that illusion of life, trying to not be like every other studio and look for something interesting that will bring personality to the character. And the process was really great because it's been really like seeing how everybody was up to the occasion growing as an artist. And I was very amazed how we started in the movie and how we finished, because you can really see a change of quality and the passion was still there, but you know, when we started to do the first test where we didn't know what to do with the character to how the movie ended up, you can see really a beautiful quality spreading in the screen, and you can see the lushness of the colors. I mean, there was something that as a Spaniard I couldn't understand. There was like when we started looking at the art direction of the film, and suddenly it was so colorful, and I keep going with my kind of Disney school of thought. I was like, no, everything has to be color coordinated, it has to be really kind of good, blah, blah, blah. And really, when you go to Mexico and see you go to Cholula and you see the houses and how the city is, like, of course, now I understand. I understand the sense of color that is completely different, and that brought to the movie an extra special thing that made the movie different. And I think the experience was really fun. In the worst case scenario, that is the best case scenario, we ended up having a really cool movie, and what is more important, a whole bunch of new friends that we kind of managed to get together and build from this. So for me, it's been a really, really wonderful experience.
Thank you, Raul. How many SpongeBob fans are in the room? So, you know, let's talk about the story really quick, because something about this film that we were very aware of is that we cannot be Pixar, we cannot be Disney. We're not at that budget level. So how do you tell? Do something original, interesting, and obviously you have a great story that conquers all. And we wanted specifically, and Aleks and Jerry can talk about sort of the Hispanic market, because that's a big part of this film, and the idea that this animation is more like a traditional animation back in the old days. It's really for kids with something in it for adults, versus the Pixar model for adults, something in there for kids. And there's a real innocence and about this film that makes it actually new and exciting when people see it, when families see it, they get really excited about the film. And I think the story obviously starts with the story. And I want Richard to talk about that experience, because the draft of the script, it went through so many different hands to get to the level that it did. So maybe Richard could take us through that.
Sure. Well, when I was approached, I was working on SpongeBob for about, I think, 5 years, the tail end of my time there. And I really wanted to work in a feature. So they took a chance on me, so I applaud you for that. You know, it's not something that happens very often. I just said, well, first I want to see the character designs. And I saw some amazing designs from Mike Kunkel, who okay, well they're making smart decisions, Phil's involved, you know, the Olmos production is involved. I'm like, okay, this is a real deal, okay, well what's your story? And it's like, well, it's about this little boy, parrot in this, he has a circus family, and it's taken over by this gang of bad birds, and they kill the father, and it's like, and they kill the father. it's a cartoon for, you know, I don't want to be like the standards and practices guy saying, no, you shouldn't do that. But I kind of did, and I said, well, maybe you can make a joke out of it. Maybe they just break his legs or something. So we kind of do that, and the story that was presented to me just seemed really serious, and they said, but we want it to be fun like SpongeBob or Tex Avery, and I'm like I've heard. You don't mean that when you say that, but okay, keep talking. So we were, I read the story, and I really liked it. I thought this has, it's not saccharine. This seems like a real situation that we can play with. We can have humor along the way without sacrificing the essence of the story. I wanted to stay true to what they had and just sort of buoy it with, you know, kind of what we did with SpongeBob specials, where they, one way to have interest continue with your main star in a special is get them out of town. So they followed all of the rules that I was used to with writing longer form specials. And I worked closely with Fernando, who had worked on the outline with Delches, who I still haven't met, but just became Facebook friends with. It's so strange, the whole international, it's just across the border, but there's so many people involved in this movie that I haven't met yet, and you know, I'm meeting today for the first time, and it was great working with Phil. I did go to his house and he gave some amazing notes that I tried to incorporate all of them in spite of so many changes, and trying to keep on top of it to keep it as accessible, as fun, and you know, throw in some gags along the way without sacrificing any of the, you know, the pathos, the heart of the story. So yeah, it was really quite amazing that it all came together. There's so many. I think when we did the first reading of the script, one of the first versions of the script, everyone took. You want to do like Ricardo read all the female characters, I remember, and it was hilarious. And there's some improvisation or like riffs on lines, and I was like, I'm writing that's really good. You know, it had never been read out loud before. So it's you know, truly a labor of love, and everything that I've seen, it just gets better and better with each new version. So pretty impressed.
I just enjoyed watching you and Phil go at it. The script, really funny. These guys, you have two, like, what's great about the project, I think, on the international level, just all around creatively, is you have these very strong voices, you know, creative voices, as you can see, and styles, and I think it works really well in the film. Like, there are those great SpongeBob moments that you just die laughing at, and there's sort of like the Phil Roman style of, you know, the heart and stuff that's in there still, and it works really well. And Phil, I don't know if do you want to talk about the process for you and the story, or are you did he say it all?
Well, yes, because Ricardo showed me the original script, and I liked all of it. I just thought maybe the ending was a struggle. And so I passed the idea, passed him about just making the hero, the villain, or the hero, make more of a character out of him, and now that he's an old guy. And so and how to develop that and pay it off. And so we did that, and I think it kind of stripped out the story. I think it kind of worked, and it just because when I like the characterization, I like characters, I like personality, and separate the characters, make them different, make them very distinctive. And so that's what I was missing at the end. And to me, defining what was, I think it was hero, and he was probably, he was not what he was on the screen, he was just the opposite. And to me, you need that difference. To me, you have to define that and show it. You know, not only have him say it, but you have to show it and the action. And you can do an animation a lot better than live action because an animation can do things a little bit more extreme, a little bit more cartoon, a little bit more animated.
Thank you, bro. Thanks.
And let me tell you one story, very funny story about the script. For me, it was a dream come true to be working with such legends as Phil Roman and supervised by James Olmos and working with Fernando Lewels and Dulce Verches. Both of them were Mexicans, and Richard Pursel and Phil Roman Americans, James Olmos and Phil Mexican Americans. But it was such an honor, and it was great because Dulce Verches, our original scriptwriter, was from Mexico, and so she was very excited about working with these great legends. And at some point we were discussing how would our characters be crossing the border from Mexico to the United States. And I remember that it was a big issue because we didn't want to talk, you know, in the negative way about the migration thing, or we just wanted to talk in a positive way about U.S. and about Mexico. So the Dulce Verches, our screenwriter, was coming. So she went to, she flew to Tijuana and crossed a couple of times to San Diego. So I picked her up and drove her to LA to be working with Edward and with Phil and with Richard and Fernando. And at some point, the border patroller stopped Dulce, our screenwriter, and said, "Hey, you've been crossing a lot lately." And so she was all frightened and said, "Well, I'm working in a movie." "Really? A movie? Oh, come on, you're Mexican, you're working in a movie in Hollywood?" "Yeah, working with James Olmos and with Phil Roman." And then the border patrol said, "Whoa, I'm a big fan, how are you?" She spent like half an hour talking and asking about the movie, and she was so excited, so they became friends. And when she came to our meeting, a script meeting, she was like telling us the story, and she said, "That's the way it should be in the story. Like our character saying, oops, I'm here to work, I'm trying to get to Hollywood, and I'm trying to look out for El Americano," and the border patrol is a fan of El Americano, so they let them in and they say, you know, they're birds, right? They should just flown over